Hi there guys, so apparently Andre Ward has explained that Roy Jones Jr. turned down £33 million or $40 million to fight Mike Tyson. Now this fight would have taken place in 2003. Now Mike Tyson had just got back to winning ways after his knockout loss to Lennox Lewis, and Roy Jones Jr. had just won a heavyweight world title, beating John Ruiz over 12 rounds. Now obviously Roy Jones Jr. was a junior middleweight starting his career, but moved up through the weights, becoming a 4-weight world champion, and that included a heavyweight world title. That could have set up a huge blockbuster fight between him and Mike Tyson, but apparently the $40 million that was offered to Roy Jones Jr. just wasn't enough. Now obviously Mike Tyson wasn't Mike Tyson in 2003, and he had just lost to Lennox Lewis. So what kind of Mike Tyson would Roy Jones have been facing? Could Roy Jones have won? I mean, I'd say yes. I think that Roy Jones Jr. would have beaten Mike Tyson in 2003 because Mike Tyson was not in his prime. And Roy Jones Jr. was in incredible form, especially considering he had just jumped up to heavyweight, skipping the cruiserweight division and fighting for a heavyweight world title. He had one defeat on his record at that point against Montel Griffin, which wasn't a points decision loss. It was not a knockout loss. It was a disqualification loss. So effectively, he was almost, I guess you could say, unbeaten at that point. And he just won a heavyweight world title. And he'd just been offered $40 million to fight Mike Tyson. And not just Mike Tyson, but a very aged Mike Tyson. But Roy Jones Jr. turned down that $40 million purse in order to go back down to light heavyweight and defend and unify against Antonio Tarver, which was not a good decision because he won that fight, but he didn't look like Roy Jones Jr. He wasn't able to transfer his weight and distribute his positioning from attack to defense like he normally did, because no one could do that better than a prime Roy Jones Jr. But something left him after coming back down from heavyweight, and in the rematch with Antonio Tarver, he was stopped in 2 rounds. Then lost his next fight against Glenn Johnson over 9 rounds, being knocked out as well. And then the trilogy fight with Antonio Tarver, after that, he lost over a 12-round decision. So he had 3 losses after coming back down from heavyweight. So in his 4 fights after coming back down after heavyweight, he lost 3 of them. So obviously Roy Jones Jr. was not the same fighter after going up to heavyweight, and he definitely wasn't in his prime anymore. So ultimately you would have to believe that Roy Jones Jr. made a bad call in not fighting Mike Tyson, because he was looking like a machine up at heavyweight. He was looking big and bulky. He was 5'11", so he wasn't the tallest, but Mike Tyson is actually shorter. Mike Tyson is 5'10", whereas Roy Jones Jr., as I said, is 5'11". And in addition to that, Roy Jones Jr.'s reach is 74 inches. Mike Tyson's reach is 71 inches. So the natural heavyweight Mike Tyson is actually shorter and has a shorter reach than Roy Jones Jr., who started his career at light middleweight. And I know you can say dimensions don't mean anything, especially when you're in there with someone like Mike Tyson. But when you're in there with someone like Roy Jones Jr., things like that do count, because he was just so skillful. A prime Roy Jones is the best fighter I believe we have ever seen. I think he's the best fighter to have ever laced up the gloves in the sport of boxing. A prime Roy Jones would have beaten damn near anyone. But the fight never materialized, and these reports are coming from Andre Ward that there was a $40 million purse guaranteed on the table for Roy Jones had he fought Mike Tyson. This is what Ward had to say about this situation. There was a Mike Tyson fight on the table, and I believe I am accurate to say that there was somewhere between $40 million guaranteed for Roy Jones Jr. There was an upside too. You stay at heavyweight, you keep the weight on, and Mike Tyson wasn't quite Mike Tyson at the time. He was still dangerous, but he wasn't quite Tyson. I think they were working towards it. What I heard was that Roy wanted more money. Roy somehow said, no, the fight will be there down the road, and put his attention on Antonio Tarver, and the rest is history. I wanted to see him fight Tyson and then ride off into the sunset. One more and you're out. Roy could have had a full career, then rode off into the sunset, hunting and fishing, doing whatever he does, and still not being fundamentally sound. So there we go. That is the truth behind Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson and why it did not happen, according to Andre Ward. Now, you would have to agree with Andre Ward. That would have been a good fight for Roy Jones Jr. considering what happened when he went back down to light heavyweight. At least he should have gone down to cruiserweight first, because ultimately taking all of that weight off and making weight again was just too much for Roy Jones Jr. and he was never the same fighter again after that, because Making weight does something to a fighter. It strips something away from them, especially when you struggle to make weight. I believe that the weight making process is so difficult for fighters, especially if they are big at the weight, can take something away from them every single time they have to do it. Then imagine going up to heavyweight above 14 stone 4 and then coming back down and making 12 stone 7. I mean, that is just huge. I mean, you cannot expect to be the same person you once were when you go from 12 stone 7, making that weight, then jump up to almost 15 stone, then coming back down to 12 stone 7. All in the space of 8 months, because he fought John Ruiz on March 1st, 2003. He fought Antonio Tarver back down at light heavyweight on November 8th, 2003. So there's not long in between for him to lose all of that weight. And there is no wonder why Roy Jones Jr. was not the same fighter after doing that. Because in 8 months, losing 2.5 stone, and it's not like it was fat, it was muscle. So over the course of those 8 months, taking off that weight and making weight as well, making that 12 stone 7 limit would have just been too much for Roy Jones Jr. It's a wonder how he won the fight against Antonio Tarver. But it just shows how good Roy Jones Jr. was, because he definitely wasn't himself going into that Antonio Tarver fight. He definitely wasn't the same machine he was before fighting at light heavyweight, then going up to heavyweight. There was something that left Roy Jones Jr. after coming back down from heavyweight, so you would have to believe that the Mike Tyson opportunity would have been in the best interest of Roy Jones Jr. That would have been a good fight for him, and what a fight it would have been as well, because Roy Jones Jr. is one of the best fighters ever in the sport of boxing. Mike Tyson, one of the best heavyweights ever in the sport of boxing. So what a fight that would be. Of course, Mike Tyson was towards the end of his career, but still, it would have made for some entertainment. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Andre Ward's comments on what really happened between Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson and why the fight did not happen. Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.